Okay, welcome back to Andrew Scale Models, episode 7. Today we're going to do a quick one, just an inbox review on one of the Trumpeter Battleship kits. This was a slightly newer release. It's kind of late last year, 2018 release. It's the Schleswig Holstein Battleship. Something a little bit different, almost like a dreadnought type battleship built before World War One. But what makes it famous is after the end of World War One, under the Treaty of Versailles, and after Germany's defeat in World War One, they were told that they weren't to build any battleships of an aggressive form, and they were limited to how many ships they could have. They could only use those ships for coastal defence and training purposes, etc., etc. And this is one of them. Funnily enough, later on in 1939, I think it was, the Schleswig Holstein was anchored in Danzig Harbour in Poland, and I can't remember the date, but started shelling the Polish barracks and basically begun World War II and the invasion of Poland. So, bit of history. Does explain a little bit about the history on the spine of the box. But yeah, if you want to build something other than the Bismarck and the Tirpitz and the Missouri and the Yamato, blah blah blah, we've done them all before. This is something a little bit different. Really comprehensive little kit. There's a lot of parts in here and a heap of photo etch. Actually shows you on the spine of the box. Alright, so there's actually, I think it works out, there's 6 sheets in there, the photo etch. So handrails, ladders, cranes, and you actually get anchor chain as well. So yeah, while we're at it, this your box art. It's one spine, one side. Alright. The other spine, colour call out, side on and end on. Alright, kit number. 05354 1350 scale. Anyway, we won't muck around, we'll get straight into it. Stick around for the end of this video too, because I'm going to do a bit of a special on this one. We're going to be opening this box. I have had a look at some of the sprues and make sure it's all in the kit. It is a brand new kit. It was never sealed as such, so basically this is only the second time I've taken the lid off the box. Normally we retail it on our website at Andrew Scale Models for $115. I've seen it for anywhere up to 140, and I've seen it on eBay for about 112, I think it was, 115, something like that. But we're going to do a bit of special on this kit, so let's open it up and have a little bit of a look at it and see what the kit parts look like. Alright, so yeah, as usual, Trumpeter stuff, Master Tools, which is a Trumpeter based company. They do some good stuff. You get one in one of these sort of little leaflets in just about every kit now. Some new release coming, 100% new tooling, mouse. Really weird looking tank, that one. Interior, full interior detail on that one too, by the looks of it. And there's our Schleswig Holstein battleship. And that gives you an idea of all the etch parts once they're fitted. Alright, all those yellow parts is the photo etch. Alright, flags, photo etch, 100% new tool. Alright, let's get that in the box. Alright, first thing we'll do, have a bit of a look at the instructions. Now it's a battleship, so it's going to be pretty stock standard, I would suggest. Alright, colour call out. Alright, so we've got our part number. A little bit of help with, if you're a beginner to the hobby, although I wouldn't suggest you be building this as your first kit. It's a pretty full on kit, this one. A little bit of help with decal application, but with your instruction manuals, the little keys down here, the little legends down here are quite handy. And one thing that I always miss, well I don't always miss, but quite often, is this one here. Alright, if I zoom in a little bit closer, so get Let's see here. Right, let's see if I just swing it out a bit. Alright, so the little legend here, so that one right there, make hole, okay? I quite often forget to drill the holes, alright, so quite often if you look on here, you can see these, this is the underside of the top deck, alright? Okay, so that's actually textured wood deck on there, really well moulded too by the looks of it, nice fine detail. But you can see under here these little holes. These holes here, not all of them, but some of these holes you've got to drill. Now if you forget to drill them, glue the deck on the top, you can't see where the holes go. Alright, pretty simple, but that's just one of those things where be very careful and read the instructions as you go along, and you won't go wrong. Alright, anyway, I'll be open the book up. So you've got your sprues, all the sprues are numbered. That's your top deck, twin hole, and it's all slide moulded. Some really fine detail parts. That's your flags, chain, all your photo etch frets. So you've got two of those, and one each of them. So 6 photo etch frets in all. Some more numbered sprues, and you actually get a display base as well. This is the display base here, and you get the little name plaque as well on there. I'm not sure I like the display base. It looks a bit clunky in this one, but you know, I don't use them anyway usually. So anyway, so we go to the first page. So simple, straight away, make holes. Do that first. Okay, so remove your, apart from the sprues, make sure you clean your sprue grates off properly. Drill your holes. Make sure you're all following the manual as per instructions. You don't miss anything. You'll see throughout the instructions the PE. Alright, so that's photo etch, so that's all your PE parts. Alright, so they're numbered here and numbered here. So PE off sheet B3, that'll be on here. Alright, okay, so just follow it along. Alright, funnels, some gun parts. Alright, and then you've got your split hole. Alright, 2-part hole. This should be nice and easy. With these central bracing, you could probably just glue those into one half, just a little bit of Tamiya thin cement or so, or actually you could probably just use some, you know, sort of thicker consistency glue and get a really good bond with those. Push the other half onto those, and then worry about the seam after. Alright, so you could fit those, clamp them shut. Then you'll have a nice simple method. You could hold it with your hands, you wouldn't have to clamp it and all that sort of stuff. Probably make that big long seam a lot easier to glue. Alright, just make sure you clean your sprue gates off. Alright, so you get a good fit. I'm not going to hover too much over this. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Alright, so you glue on your top deck onto your bottom deck. Remember too, if you've got any overhang here, so you've got your guns sitting underneath here and the top deck might overhang, it's a good idea. This is where you should have this already painted. Alright, just think ahead. Alright, it's a lot more difficult to get in there and paint later on. I paint all these on the sprue to start with and then just touch them up later. Funnels, we've got a lot of photo etch. Now it'll tell you there PE part D7, that's the shape you have to form it into to suit the top of the funnel. It tells you to bend it, but doesn't tell you how to. Okay, so I might in the next video show you a little bit of how to do your photo etch, just the basics of it. Because in a kit like this, there's lots of it. Alright, so you've got photo etch parts in here. And if your patience will allow, use the photo etch. Just take your time, do it slowly, work methodically, because it makes a massive difference to the look of your kit when it's finished. If you use the PE, adds so much detail. Alright, so we've got another page here. It's not really focusing really well on that, is it? I might just come back out a bit further. Anyway, there we go. Alright. Okay, so props. 3 propellers on this one. I noticed on the hull halves as well, all these are sort of marked, so you're not flying blind as to where to fit these. Alright, so they're all sort of marked on the hull. The same with these parts here. You're not just winging it. you can actually see the moulded section where they go. Pretty simple. Okay. We're getting into our main guns. Now this being like a dreadnought type battleship, they didn't have a lot of main guns. It's only the two twin barrel turrets, one fore and one aft. But they had a lot of those little guns around the, to make up for it, I guess. That's how a lot of them looked back in World War One, I guess. Masts and heaps of photo etch here, and you'll see, for example, with this one, if you have a look at that picture, that's what it should look like when it's bent and stuck. It's got to fit onto this base here. Now you can see how that's got that sort of bulge and then a flat and then a bulge and then that sort of offset. So when you roll this and to join those two ends, it will naturally end up with that sort of angled, sort of out shape to it, because it's built in to that piece of photo etch. Alright, now when you come to that part in particular and parts like that, be really methodical. Take your time, because if you stuff that up and you've got to recreate that out of some, just like you can buy just generic sheets of photo etch handrail, and this is just an example of one type. Alright, it's really flimsy stuff, floppy. Alright, but you don't want to have to be trying to recreate that ornate shape again. Alright, so with that part you want to be really careful you get it right. Okay, alright, but you can buy photo etch handrails and ladders and stuff on generic sheets aftermarket if you do need to replace some parts. Alright, so moving on, same again. We're getting into the sort of the cabin areas and all that sort of stuff. It's all pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Did I just skip a page? Yes, I did. Look like I did. Alright. Lifeboats. More guns. It's all pretty standard, straightforward stuff. Attaching the lifeboats, and we've got photo etch again and ladders, photo etch handrails and ladders, and then a ton of handrail for this level. Alright, so just work through that nice and slow. Back to the masts. A lot of PE parts again, D5s, etc. Round piece, so you can see that's how it starts. You cut that off the sprue, and that's how it looks. And just to give you a little bit of a heads up, alright, with your photo etch, just give you a quick heads up. Alright, so if you're trying to remove a bit of photo etch, start with a really hard super flat surface, and this is actually a photo etch bender. Alright, master tools, funnily enough, Trumpeter. Now if you cut your piece of etch out or whatever and you've got to bend it, you can stick it in there, clamp it down and get a perfect straight bend. Alright, I very rarely actually use this for what it's actually designed to do, but if you get your piece of etch and you want to cut a bit of handrail off, I'll use a flat straight blade like that. You can just use a art knife, hobby knife. Alright, so you just remove the parts from the sprue. Alright, now I'm just going to do a bit of a rush job just to quickly show you, and you'll hear that positive little snap when you break through. Alright, I'll just cut a tiny little piece out of it. Alright, so you've got your little bit of handrail. Alright, I'll see if I can show you that bit of handrail. So you can see the bit of handrail there. Right, I'm holding it with a pair of photo etch pliers. Now you can either, if you're just doing a straight bend, put it on your little hard surface. Right, work out where you've got to put your bend. I usually hold it with a bit of plastic on one of the upright rails. Right, make sure it doesn't move and hold it square. Just slide your blade in underneath and you just kind of lift the blade. Alright, you can lift it to any angle you want. Alright, and you end up with that. You can see that. Alright, that bit of photo etch has been bent. Now, at this point is where you want to handle it really carefully, because it's really easy to crush it. Alright, so there's your bit of photo etch. Alright, you can do the same thing with these pliers. They're from Tamiya etch benders. Alright, so you can hold your bit of, there we go, it's flinged off. You can hold your bit of photo etch like that. So I'm going to hold it just on another upright part of the rail. Alright, and just be really careful. If you just roll your fingers over carefully, alright, you can get another 90-degree bend in it. And the end of the pliers are so flat and so square, you get a really nice 90-degree bend. Alright, so etch bending pliers, really handy. Alright, now before you bend your parts, it's not a bad idea. You sometimes, now you might be, and probably not going to be able to see this, my camera's just not good enough for this, but where I've cut it off the sprue, off the actual etch frame, you end up with tiny little dags. It's really hard to see, but to take them off, hold it with your etch plier right up against where you want to file it. So I've actually cut those off quite well, so there is actually nothing to file off. But you hold it in your plier. Alright, so I hold it up against there, you can sort of see it. Now, it might be hard to see, but just on there's a tiny little bit of sprue, if you like to call it that. And with a diamond file like this from Tamiya, you can just file that little dag off and clean it up. Alright, looks much better on the finished kit if you can't see those little dag ends. Alright, so that's just a little bit of basic on how to do photo etch. Alright, when you've got to get it to be round like that, you just put your bit of flat photo etch on your cutting mat. Alright, in this case you don't want a really super hard surface like this. You want it to be semi-soft kind of thing. Alright, and depending on the radius of that, how sharp you want the round to be, depends on what sort of round tube you use to bend it, to roll it. So if I just grab a knife handle that doesn't have a blade in it, cut yourself. So I've got a metal art knife handle here, alright, on the soft, well, relatively soft cutting mat. Alright, I'll just put it somewhere relatively flat, okay. Alright, you take your round art knife handle, normally you would have cut your bit of photo etch out to the right length, and then you just start to roll the piece like this, and the more you roll it and the harder you apply pressure, see how that's getting a perfect round in it. Alright, now I'm actually trying to roll it with all this part of, the etch frame on it, but if you cut that little part out and then you start doing this, you'll end up, it really curls up for you, and you can create a perfect little circle where you just keep rolling and rolling and it ends up bending up and you get a little circle. So you can create full circles or just 90, just slight bends and all that sort of stuff, depending on how hard you apply pressure to your, to your knife handle or whatever you use. And you can use brush handles and all that sort of stuff. You want a bigger diameter, you'll get a bigger, slower bend. You use a smaller diameter brush handle, you get a much tighter, slower, smaller circle. Alright, so that's just the basics of a bit of how you do photo etch. And then when you glue it, alright, to the plastic, the other thing I should have mentioned too, it's not a bad idea to prime it. Just use a metal primer, alright, let it dry and then cut your parts out, glue them on the kit, and then later on you can just airbrush or brush paint the colour over the top. Alright, was I going to say glue? CAs, okay, that's a thick one from BCI, I really like this stuff. Everybody's seen that, Zap CA, that's a thin, really thin. Now, I don't actually apply it with the bottle. I actually put it onto something, a little plastic container or something, and use toothpicks. And just dip the toothpicks, or I use clothespins. Alright, so just a tiny little pin, you know, something kind of like that, but a longer pin. Yeah. Okay, and use that as your glue applicator. So a bit of CA on a bit of rubbish plastic, and then you can use your pin to actually pick a bit of glue up. Alright, and just sort of where the etch part, for example this part here, has to glue onto here, onto there. You can use the glue that's on there and just apply it to here, or apply it to the bottom of the rail, and with fine tweezers just put it in place. And then you can always just decant a bit of glue out of the bottle onto your needle tip. You don't overdo it, and just touch it on there and it'll flow around. Alright, and just leave it, don't stuff around with it, just leave it and let it completely dry, and it kind of disappears, and you can just paint over the top, and you won't even see the glue marks. Alright, but you've got to use CA, cyanoacrylate, to glue your photo etch parts to your plastic kit. Alright, and if you want it to go off quicker, the thicker CA will dry slower, so it gives you a little bit more time, but it makes it a little bit more mess. It's a lot less likely to be hidden. The really thin stuff is really fluid, dries a hell of a lot faster, but it's really fluid, so you've got to be careful how you use it. You don't overdo it, use too much. And if you want to, if you're impatient, you can use a kicker. Alright, and you just spray it. It's the pump spray kicker. It makes the glue go off instantly. But I never use kicker. Well, in most cases I don't use kicker, because at times the kicker can make the CA kind of expand, and you end up this lumpy, horrible glue joint, and then it's nightmare city. So I don't suggest you use a kicker unless you can't see the part. So if it's out of sight in the kit and you just want a fast joint and glue it really quick, then you can kick it if you're not going to see the joint later on. So it's inside a fuselage or an aircraft or so. That's fine. But on a battleship like this, where you're gluing handrails, people are going to be looking right up close to your kit, you know, at all the detail. You don't want them seeing lumpy glue joints and stuff like that. So use tiny amounts of a medium CA, which is normally in a green bottle, with regards to the Zap, or in this case the pink one, the thin one. All right, so just tiny little amounts. You don't need much. All right, so that's how you glue your photo etch. Alright, so moving along, a bit of crap everywhere here. Alright, so yeah, we're going through the kit, nothing's really changed. Lot of photo etch in here, you can see all the ladders, etc. So that's working on the bridge area, I think. Yeah, you've got your towers and crow's nests up the top and all that. Again, ladder, photo etch handrails up on top of the ladder. You even get photo etch crane hook. Let's see. You sort of treat all these little sections like a completely separate kit all on its own, and then it all comes together in one later. So you can see all that. There's a crane there with the etch glued on. And there's like the mast all completed in sort of one whole section. Then you just glue that in with all your handrails installed. Right, and all this just adds to the appeal of the kit, makes it look more realistic. Right, so some bits and pieces up on the bow, a little bit at the stern. Okay, at the stern it's got a stern anchor, so we've got stern anchor chain. And if we go to the next page, there's your anchors, anchor chains fitted on the bow and at the stern. All your external outer edge handrails to go on. Big long sections of handrail like that, don't try and do that whole piece. Cut it into little sections and do little sections. It's damn sight easier, because this stuff, it's strong, but it's floppy. It's really hard to glue on. So if you do it in little short sections, they're stiffer, easier to handle with your tweezer. So you can see more ladders up here at the bow, flagpole fitted, and the last step will be your two turrets. Okay, putting together your stand. I suggest you kind of do this first. Build and paint your bottom section of hull, the simple section, and attach it to this. Even if you use a little bit of blue tack or double-sided tape, makes it really handy for you to work on the ship with the hull built on its stand. All right. But that's it. That's basically it. So that's the Schleswig Holstein Battleship 1935. Alright, now the other part of the instructions, I'll try not to be too slow here. Colour call out. Paint reference charts refers to Mr. Hobby, Vallejo, all your standards, Tamiya, Humbrol, Model Master. I've already noticed that there's a couple of colours called for here. They're telling me that Model Master don't do those. Well, that's a lot of crap. Okay, they do a tan. Cocoa brown's supposed to be the hull red, or it's a Kriegsmarine red. It's a weird looking red. I know for a fact that Model Master does a Kriegsmarine red for the hull. And then you just got your stock standard colours, flat black, steel grey. Funnily enough, it mentions RLM 76 light blue and RLM 78 light blue. Well, they're Luftwaffe aircraft colours. Okay, so yeah. Hence, if you're fussy about colours, do some research. Okay. Not sure that they were using RLM colours on battleships when they were building them in 1906 it was built or something. Alright, although I guess they may change the colour in 1939. So anyway, you might be wanting to do your research there. There's the colour call outs there for you. Alright. Okay. It's a really fuzzy picture, that, isn't it? It's not a very good picture. I'm having a bit of trouble with my lighting, I think. Anyway, there you go. It's not focusing very well. I'm not sure about this sort of chocolatey coloured brown on the upper decks. This is all your wooden deck down here. I thought that was all through up the top as well. But anyway, we'll have to do a bit of research on this one. So anyway, there you go. Alright, so that's instructions. Alright. Pretty in-depth kit. If you're going to install a Photo Etch, you're going to be working hard. And you're going to be taking your time and doing it nice and slow. Anyway, I'll quickly go through the sprues. There's not really much to look at. Alright, so that's your upper deck. Alright. Looks pretty good. Nice small sprue gates, nice and easy to cut. Just remember, don't cut right up against the plastic part. Cut back this way, and sand the sprue gate off the part. And you can see, I think you can see it. Got to get it to focus on the deck. This doesn't want to focus, but you've got that moulded in wooden deck on there. It's really hard to see on my camera. I think it's got something in my lights. I might have to do something about my lights, but anyway, to the naked eye it looks really good. It's nice and sharp. Alright. Alright. Again, remember, don't forget, drill your holes first. Alright. And as you can see, we're taking the sprues out of the bags to show you the parts and how sharp and nicely detailed they're. Really crisp and moulding. Very little problem with ejector pin marks on the undersides. Alright, but just be wary, like where it comes close to the edge here, we're going to be sort of near the outer piece that's going to glue on top of. You might want to just sand that back and just make sure you get a nice flush mount. Because if it doesn't close up properly, that's when you have trouble making things fit. Okay, so that's your upper hull parts, the deck. Hull parts, slide moulded, two-piece. Alright, portholes and all that stuff. If you want to, you could drill them out, but I reckon in this scale, just a black wash through there. Alright, you can see the recessed areas that show you where to fit those underside hull parts. Alright. So you can see that. You can see where those parts go. So you're not sort of flying blind, you know exactly where to put them. Okay. But that's your upper hull parts. Good surface detail. Alright, and this one's not too big. It's about 37 centimetres long. So it's not going to take up too much room and be nice and easy to display. And being a bit of an older ship, it'll be sort of a bit gnarly, something different. Alright, and that's your female receptacles for those hole-to-hole bulkheads. Stiffen up the whole hull, make it nice strong glue fit. Alright. Okay, and you can see how you've also got the female Then on the other half you've got the male connection. Alright, so make it nice and easy to clamp together. So, alright, so that's your 2 hole halves. Back in the bag. As you can see, I'm not going to remove any parts from the sprues. I'm going to try and keep them in their respective bags. All the parts don't scruff together. Alright, really good sturdy box it's into. Really strong and stiff, so it'll freight really well. So in the end, little protective box at the end of here, we've got lots of little parts, so aerial parts, another section of what do you call it? Bridge section. Yeah, I'm not really au fait with my ships, but anyway. Alright, again, good detail on there. Some of it's sort of a little bit soft. Alright, but with a bit of weathering and a wash and all that sort of stuff, it should pop out alright. And on that side, it's a lot sharper on that side. So there is a little bit of variance in it. But all the portholes are there, so standoff scale look really good. Alright. Heaps of extra little bits in here. This is all part of the funnels and cabin areas and top deck of one of the lifeboats. More of the same. More of the same. Bridge in there. Oh look, I'm not going to take these out of the bag. There's not really a lot to show you. It is quite nicely moulded though. I don't know if you can see that. It's really hard to see, especially through the plastic. Alright, but it's all in there. More lifeboats. Here's all your etch. So right down the bottom we've got our anchor chain. Alright, there should be enough in there for those 3 anchor chains. And there we've got our flags, and these are actually decals. Alright, so depends, I don't know how you want to go about this, but I guess you could some really fine evergreen sheet plastic, cut to the size, apply the decal, cut it through the middle and bend it. Or what I would probably do is apply this to a little bit of like when you open a Milo tin or a coffee tin, it's got the foil seal on the inside. You can cut the foil seal out. It's really thin. It's almost paper thin. That's perfect for gluing this to, or just decal and put the decal on it, let it cure completely, and then you can actually bend the tin to give the flag a little bit of action, make it look like it's more blowing in the wind sort of thing. So there's your decals. They look alright. It's pretty stock standard, I suppose. Alright, so there's probably a few different ways you can use those, but anyway, that's them. They were in a bag. Make sure you keep those in a bag. Alright, then you've just got your photo etch. So heaps of handrails and ladders and bits for cranes, and you sort of get the idea of how the ladders work. Alright, so that one there's got like a landing on the top. Alright, but if you fold the handrails up and you fold the handrail up to the other side and then you fold this bit this way, you end up with a vertical handrail, and it's there, and you can actually stick your knife, really fine scalpel, into each tread, between each tread, and just sort of what I do, I just kind of stick it in here like that. If we get find one, there, sort of stick it between 2 treads, and you can just twist your knife like that, and it'll turn the treads flat. Alright, so it looks like a really full-on realistic ladder in 350 scale. Alright, so you've got 2 sheets of photo etch in that one. There's some more stuff there. 2 sheets in that one, so that's 4. And 2 sheets in that one. So you've got 6 full sheets of photo etch, chains and decals. Alright, so pull those parts. Good idea that they've got these really fine sort of aerials and little bits and pieces in this separate box. Keeps them protected. They don't get broken off the sprue. So they close in. That stays really safe in there. And then you just got all your main sprues. Alright, so I might just, should I pull one of these out? It's all pretty stock standard. That's your hole joiners. Alright. facing, rudders, chines for the underside of the hull, your props there. Actually look quite nice. I've just noticed one's 4-bladed and 2 or 3-bladed, so probably centre and then port and starboard, I guess. More hull for a lifeboat there. That all looks nicely moulded. And small sprue gates as well, so you can get up and it should be easy enough to clean the sprue gates off your parts. All nice and sharp. Funnels. There's your nameplate. Yeah. Let's see if I can get that to show up. Alright. Yeah, so that's what I normally do, just flat black and then dry brush with a bit of silver. Sort of turns out it kind of looks sort of like a buffed, slightly buffed pewter kind of look. Alright. I'd probably use this, but I won't. I doubt I'll actually use the mount provided. It just looks a bit clunky. Alright, that's the mount. I don't really like that much, it's just a bit blocky. Alright, go to your local trophy shop and just buy some little plastic risers, and then I use hardwood bases and stain the hardwood bases. Alright, but keep in mind if you do your own mounting onto a base, it's not a bad idea to do it at this stage. So when you've got your hull halves together but no top deck on, decide sort of what stand type you're going to put underneath here and drill like a hole accordingly for each one. And then before you put your deck on, you can mount your little plastic base leg or something, even if you bust up an old trophy, and just like use the little bits of the trophy base and then screw through the top. Okay, then you can glue, you can glue your deck on and you can't see it, and it's just permanently screwed to the bottom of the boat. And you can, I have done it where I've put it in through the bottom, and I can actually undo the screw to take the boat off. But anyway, there you go. That's one way of doing it. Alright, so yeah, that's your base. Same nose. Pretty stock standard. This one's open, so there's 3 of the same in here. Alright, so lifeboats. Okay. That's obviously got a top deck that sits on, so if you get in here and paint the internal, whatever colour you've got to paint it, and a bit of a darker wash in there, that'll really pop through the top for the opening. Alright, and these smaller lifeboats, there's actually, now you probably won't be able to see it. What's I do? Maybe you can get right up close. Hold it really still. You can just make out the sort of wooden decking in the bottom there. See, a little bit of a wash in there, and it really makes it come to life. Right, anyway, it's really hard to focus on that, but anyway, there you go. That's that. So there's 3 of this sprue, and that is, what is that? They're usually numbered. That one is sprue E. Okay, so there's 3 sprue E's. So there's lots of lifeboats to put on it. You don't get any with the sort of earlier war battleship like this one. There's lots of rigging. You don't get any rigging with the kit, but look, you can use cotton, you can use easy line, it's available online, you can use fishing line, there's so many different ways you can do it, just Google it. Alright, so that's basically it. Going back to the box so you can see the kit itself. We'll just get that under there so it doesn't reflect so bad, and we'll zoom back out again so you can see the whole box. 1/350 scale Schleswig Holstein battleship, depicted as it was in 1935. Okay, alright, now retail $115 on our website at Andrew Scale Models. Now this box was never sealed, so this is the second time I've taken the lid off. It's never been taped shut, and this is how they came to us. But I have that's the second time I've opened the box. Okay, so it's a brand new kit. The first time I opened to make sure that everything was in there, and it is. You've just seen it all. We'll package it back up again. So I've not taken any parts off any sprues. They're all still in the original bags. Your decals, chain, and all your photo etch is in there. And we're going to do this kit, just this one kit that I've done a inbox review on. I'm going to do this kit for 90 bucks. All right, so it's 25 bucks off, and that's way cheaper than I've seen it anywhere else. All right, so just for this one, I've got a few of them in stock, but we're going to do a special for our YouTube channel. So yeah, you can buy this $115 kit, which I've seen for 130 odd elsewhere. You can get this one for 90 bucks. It's on our website, so I'll put a link in our description to our website, and you can have a look at it. All right, so there you go. If you want to do something different, you like naval subjects, and you're like me and you're a bit sick of all the, you know, the Missouris, etc., and the Bismarcks, there's one for you, something a bit different. Give you a bit of a test with all the rigging and stuff, your flags and all your photo etch. Later on, when I get further on with the USS Ticonderoga, the 1/350 scale trumpeter kit, I'll show you. If you have a look at the box art, you can see all the little figures. Now they look really simple. I like how they're painted. If you look really close, there's nothing to them, but you stand them off and it just brings it to life, and it does exactly the same to your plastic kit. I'm going to use the figures as well. I'm going to put figures on the Ticonderoga, and I'll show you that in a later video. Alright, so if you want to build something different, I suggest this one, mate. This is a really good kit. It's really nicely tooled, and it's a newer mould, so it should be good fit. And we're doing this one for 90 bucks. Alright, so until next time, guys, take it easy.